What's up, everyone? Welcome to Around the ACL. It's Michelle Thompson here with Anthony Ione and Trey Ryder. And we have an exciting show for you today. We're going to talk about some more mock drafts. We're going to get into some news around the league, which includes, drum roll, the schedule. Yeah, that was my drum roll. You know, Wally has sound effects. I do not. Not as fancy as him.
I'll hook up my audio board here one day and we'll get sound effects rolling in this thing.
Yeah, but then he got mad when I put him on the spot to use them. He's like, whoa. I'm like, hey, you can't say you have sound effects, not be prepared to use them. So we got the schedule we're going to release, which is great. We're going to have some special guests come on to talk about their draft strategies. We got buy or sell, and then we're going to talk about the Pro Shootout #1. So lots of fun stuff to dive into. I don't know about you guys, but I've been so focused on Myrtle Beach that I've kind of forgot that like Christmas is first. Like that's actually coming up real quick.
oh, that's right. Dang, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, like I keep thinking about the 28th when I'm gonna be leaving, and then I'm like, wait, stuff happens before that, right?
Yeah.
Well, Anthony can't forget because he's got 8,000 people at his house, so he's
that's right. Yes, I do have that.
Yeah, he's got a plan for that for like weeks. and he's like I said, like I demanded out of him, he's got to spend a minimum of 2 hours in the lab a day for this head-to-head matchup.
Preparing.
So if he's not preparing, we have no shot because I'm not. So I'm just throwing that out there.
To be clear,
if Anthony is not willing to sacrifice this for this team, we're going to get embarrassed. It's just
Anthony.
It just is what it is.
Wait, Anthony, was this in your contract or do we need to renegotiate?
Nah, this was all verbal. This was all verbal. Oh, it wasn't. It's okay.
It was an addendum.
Oh, the addendum.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it was deep into the back. Yeah, I also have, check this out. So my birthday is December 23rd. My wife's birthday is December 24th. And then Christmas. So I guess I do have a lot of things we got to work through before we get to Myrtle Beach, but
that's a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
The Christmas birthdays are hard.
Yeah, you're in the same position I am, Anthony. My wife's birthday is Valentine's Day.
Okay.
So you and I both know that when you get them a gift, it has to be the best gift ever.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it can't.
You gotta feel like two.
Yeah, you can't half-ass these gifts because it's got to go 2 for 1.
No doubt.
That makes sense.
It's a rule.
It has been like holiday crazy though. I had 3 holiday parties this weekend, one my own because it was the first night of Hanukkah last night. So we did that party that I do every year. Takes me about 3 to 4 hours to make that many latkes, which if you don't know, it's like a potato pancake. It's very time consuming, but I do it every year. So it was a busy weekend for me with a lot of fun cornhole, just playing with friends, not anything serious.
Love it.
All right, well, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to talk about here is the mock draft. So last week, Anthony and Trey got into their first round draft picks. Now we're going to go into the second round. So Trey, you want to lead us off there?
Yeah. I mean, I think mock drafts, no matter what, they get harder as you go as you go further along, right? I mean, if you think about it, you're trying to predict based on your current knowledge, and by the time we get to the second round, we're going to have a whole different list of players that are available in comparison to the first rounds, right? So, for example, when I look at my list, I have, coming at the turn, I have Berkeley Pear at 16. I'm going to throw out there that I have AJ Sims actually going to the Carolina Coasters at 17, which doesn't make a ton of sense as far as regional bias goes or anything like that, but I think he's a really great player. Now, AJ Sims could go 6 picks before then, right? And that screws up the entire flow of that second round mock draft. Now, since doing this, I do have a little bit of information when it comes to the Coasters. I think the Coasters, as best as they can, are going to be shooting for a regional team. And I got that information late last week, direct from the team, right? I think they're going to be very heavily going for Carolina. Now,
not a bad area to go after.
Right. It's not. But I think all things considered, I think you may have it where if these picks smush together and, I got a list of 10 players that I think are pretty equal, it would not surprise me if the Carolina Coasters purposely reach and grab someone that's from the region. So I'm going to keep my mock draft with what I had, but it would not surprise me if they say, hey, you know what? If between Tyler Poitras and Frank Modlin and Derek Holland and even Kaylee Hunter, a lot of these different players, if they're available, I don't know. Well, I got some new information that kind of makes my ears perk up a little bit. So I have the Carolina Coasters going after AJ Sims. The Missouri Mays, and led by Vincent Frisch, right at that 17 spot. I have them going after Vincent Frisch. Anthony had Vincent Frisch in the first round, also going to the Missouri Mays. So him and I are kind of aligned in that we think Ryan Windsor may have somewhat of an affinity and respect for the game of what Vincent Frisch has done. And being a high-profile rookie, I don't think it's surprising either one of us that Windsor may go after Frisch there. I had the Chicagoland Spinners then going after Tom Gustafson. This is a big discrepancy in Anthony and I's draft, right? Anthony has Tom Gustafson going like 4th overall to the Marauders or whatever it is. So from my perspective, I'm thinking he's going to be available way back then. Anthony's saying no chance in hell that he's going to be available then. So, but I love the regional favoritism there. I think if Gustafson, he's kind of one of those floor picks right there for the Spinners. I think if Gustafson is there for the Spinners at 19, there's no way he goes below that. They're going to take him. I got the Ringers going after Jacob Foreman. Part of the reason for that is because Matthew Creekiller is already placed onto the Ringers. So you got a chance to get pretty much a top 10 team locked back up with Creekiller and Foreman in a spot where it doesn't feel like a reach. That's the key. It's okay to put doubles partners on a team together, but only if it's in a position where it doesn't feel like a reach. Foreman is a second-round guy. He has first-round high side. He's got third-round low side, but he's a second-round pick to me. And so if the Ringers can snag Foreman, I think that's an overall win. I then have Justin Burton Jr. going to the Bully Baggers. Anthony disagrees that he's going to be available then, but I love Texas going after him. Brett Guy going after the High Rollers. Again, I think the high roller mentality is going to be from looking at it from when you have Halbert, Henderson, and Thorne. We want experienced winners. They're also going to think through the round limited format. There's nobody better at winning in a round limited format than Brett Guy historically. Jacob Beamer to the Timber. I think Hissner being on that High Rollers team, knowing how good Jacob Beamer is, falling all the way there. That's another one of these picks where Anthony's like, Trey, you're crazy. That guy's not available in the second round. But I don't see him dropping too far into that second round. Adrian Brunson with the California Slingers. Michelle will like that one. I got Adrian Brunson as a second-round pick, which is not, I don't believe, on Anthony's list at all. Adrian Brunson going to be something that's got a really high upside, but it's going to have a pretty low floor as a rookie. This is going to be a risky pick, but I think because of that carpet bag style led by Tony Smith, I think it's going to skew that a little bit and be willing to take the risk on Brunson. Florida Freeze, James Baldwin. You're going to tell Cheyenne Bubenheim that her pro partner is available in the second round when she was going to take him first overall last season if she had the chance? Yeah. You better believe she's going to be chirping in Alex Rawls' ear, take James Baldwin, take James Baldwin. Now, the thing is, I don't think they should. I think they should wait to the third round. Yeah. And that doesn't mean they won't do it anyway, right? Wrapping it up here. Kentucky Colonels grab Nate Stevens. They recognize how good Nate Stevens is because they're from Kentucky, and so they don't want him to continue to drift, and that's going to be a huge value pick there. Moses Sasweda with the Arizona Burn. They see firsthand how good Moses has been, and a lot of the country is kind of forgetting how dominant Moses was in a round-limited format this past summer. Georgia Sliders grabbing Caleb Franklin. Caleb Franklin is a shooter, and man, did he have some really high finishing events this past season. I think Noah Wooten's going to recognize that. I believe they also played on the Skunks together. They knew how good each other were, and I think it's an opportunity to snag Franklin. The Michigan Marauders, how great would this be? I got the Marauders getting Jeremy Schermerhorn if he's available. I think that would make everybody, including our guests coming up, very happy if they were able to steal Jeremy Schermerhorn late second round. Again, don't know if he'll be available. Don't know if they may risk it and say, I don't think anybody's going to take Jeremy, and they come back around in the third round. They only have 6 picks in between their 2 picks in the second and third round. Do they try to steal Schermerhorn there? I'm not sure. Wrapping things up, Virginia Cutters with Jeff Reynolds. That's Justin Stranger's pro partner. High level of respect there and a high value pick. Alan Rawls with the Ohio Aviators. Trey Birchfield's going to say, I hang around with Alex all the time. I know how good Alan is. He's going to be underappreciated. Go after and steal him. And finally, the New England Woodchucks, Michael Dingus. And I think this is one of those picks where they go, I don't think it's Michael Dingus that I love here. It just happens to be he's the best player on the board, and he's dropped considering where he was ranked last season, where I think he is skill-wise. I just don't think we can continue to let this guy fall in the draft, so the Woodchucks pick up Dingus.
All right. What do you think, Anthony? You guys got some big differences there?
I mean, we kind of talked about this. It might have been on the ACL Live, but I think we only have 4 different picks in the first couple of rounds, but we did position them a little bit differently. Like the ones you were mentioning, I went a little early, you went later, and vice versa. But your comment coming out with the first pick in the second round, we've got the turn, right? Like you talked about with the Carolina Coasters. Interesting that you said that there's that regional focus. I'm also getting that chirp kind of in the background that's going to be a regional focus. So that works perfectly into my draft picks. I actually went Maudlin Poitras on the turn. So you're going to get both conference players. And if we went all the way to the third round, I have them picking up Purser in the third round. So that fits perfectly into that regional, that kind of regional focus for the Coaster. So that's very interesting that you're getting that as well. Second pick in that second round, Mays. And as we're kind of going through this, I love the discussion going on in the background about the draft. You get all this guy should go first. This guy should go first round. I'm really looking big picture. I'm not looking at talent alone. I'm looking at bag sponsorships. I am looking at stylistic connections, friendships. There are some players that are pretty quiet, that do have some enemies or just some people, not necessarily enemies, but people they don't get along with really well. So I'm taking all these things kind of into consideration. That second pick for the Mays, I'm going with a talent pick here. It doesn't really fit in really to any of those things. This one is pure talent. I'm going to go with the Nate Stevens. That's pick 18. If we're into that second pick in the second round, we're talking the 18th pick overall. This guy is a number 5 best available if we look at finishes from last season. So for him to go in the second round, this one kind of hurts my feelings a little bit because I think he is first round worthy, but I have him going to the Florida or to the Missouri Mays. Round 3, the Chicagoland Spinners. You went with Gustafson here. Like you said, I had him much earlier because of relationships, because of bag sponsorships. He linked up twice there with the Chicagoland Spinners. That's why I went number 4, not necessarily pure talent. Now he is a good talent. Is he a 4th round talent? Maybe not, but there were some other relationships there that kind of forced me to do that. I'm going to go with an MFer, Mike Ferreira, Chicagoland Spinners. I'm picking him up there. Pennsylvania Ringers, you've got Harbaugh, Creek Killer, and Al Tice as captains. We share this one. We both went Foreman here in the second round. Trey, just a question for you. Why do you think that Foreman isn't worthy of a first round pick to get Creek Killer his partner right out of the gate? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so if I look, let's see where are the Ringers there? The Ringers they'll be 13.
Yep.
They could, but in my draft in particular, like I have Alec Ryan still available then. And if I have the choice between Jacob Foreman and Alec Ryan, I'm going to take Alec Ryan, right? I think they're going to go carpetbag. Now, if Alec Ryan is gone, I just see as far as carpetbag throwers go, it really just depends on who's still available, right? I still think if I'm looking at they're going to go carpetbag mentality, straight down my list, Ryan Smith, Fisher Hamilton, Ryan Wiedenfeld, Gavin Cano, Caleb Batson, Alec Ryan, Berkeley Pear, Vincent Frisch. To me, those are all players that I would put ahead of Foreman, right? So I think it just becomes who is available from a carpetbagger perspective. Those would be my picks first, but it wouldn't shock me if they want to get a surefire first pick. It's not going to be a bad pick. I think they're also going to have the mentality of I don't think anybody behind us in the next few picks before we get to the second round will take Foreman away from us.
Boom. Yeah, we're thinking the same thing. I went JBJ as their first pick, Justin Burton Jr. 6 picks later, they can grab Foreman. I think that is a smart move. I think he's still available. So, yeah, we're kind of thinking the same thing.
Yeah, even if you go through it, Chicagoland, I don't think is going to take him. Missouri Mays, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe
that would be Windsor wanting him. That would be Windsor wanting him.
Carolina Coasters, no. I don't see the Coasters taking them all. So really, what you're gambling is, are the Mays going to take them in between when I can get them? And I think the answer is no, but if they're not sure about it.
You know, Wally and I interviewed Harbaugh on our show, and he basically said that is something they're going after. He didn't tell me which round, but I asked kind of his strategy, and he said, we definitely would love to get his partner. So we'll see. We'll see when he gets him, or if he gets him.
Doubt. I can't wait to see how it's going to shake out. Next one for me. So this is be your 5th pick there in the second round. Texas Bullybaggers. We're thinking the same thing. You went JBJ. JBJ for me was already gone, so I went with a Kano. So he's going to be picked up there. Las Vegas High Rollers, and I think this one for me had the most discussion around the draft, and it served its purpose. It's exactly what I wanted. I really wanted to build conversation around Kyle Malone. I have him going in the second round. Hands down, a first-round talent. But we talked about bag sponsorships, relationships, regional affiliation. For me, as I was kind of going through, I just didn't really see where Kyle fit. I mean, he is definitely going to, if he's going to be picked up, it's going to be based on talent. Because if you look at bag sponsorships, I mean, he was kind of alone last year, a lone guy, with his bag sponsorship last year. He's in a smaller team again this year, so there's not a whole lot of relationships with bag sponsorships, but talent-wise, the dude is insane. And he's a pretty quiet guy. He's not cliquey. He's not going to be a part of these big cliques that people are going to look in and go, hey, he's a part of my group, plus he's an awesome player, plus he's in my bag sponsorship. I'm going to grab him first. He's not that guy. And that's kind of why I had him going a little bit later, but certainly he could go number 1 right out of the gate. If he doesn't, it'll be very interesting to see where Kyle Malone goes in the draft. Colorado Timber, I have Dingus going. This is where you grabbed Jacob Beamer. I did have Beamer much earlier, and this is some interesting knowledge just that I've learned kind of recently. Jacob Beamer's kind of fallen off in his gameplay, and I've heard this from a number of sources. Now, I had him going, I think it was number 6, because he was the 3rd available pick, because he was a top 30 guy last year. But I'm hearing, hey, if you started the pro season today, he wouldn't be killing it like he was last year. So be interesting to see if Beamer can kind of get his stuff getting together before the pro season starts. California Slingers, I like Berkeley pair. I think there's a connection there with Tony Smith. Just a solid player all around. Definitely second. If you look at ranks, he's not in that second round worthy, but ignore ranks. The dude is insane talented and he can do anything. I like him there. Florida Freeze, I have Alan Rawls going. I think that one's pretty self-explanatory. You went Baldwin. I like that too. If Baldwin's still available, I do agree. I kind of see him falling down a little bit now in the draft. I like an Alan Rawls who's trending up. And, of course, he's the captain's brother. So you have a relationship there. Kentucky Colonels, I got Brett Guy. Arizona Burn, I went Jeremy Schermerhorn. You've got a Team Ultra connection there. Plus, I think he's second round worthy. The guy's killing it right now in singles, in doubles. Georgia Sliders, I've got Brandon Jones. I do see him as a second round talent. He's also improving his game. I think he would be good pick for the Georgia Sliders. Sarah Cassidy, the first female off the board in the draft. I think a second round worthy. I think she's overlooked. If we look at pure stats, top of the food chain. I mean, if you look at the list, she is not far down from number 1. She's a proven champ on a broadcast. I think would be a great pick in the second round for the Michigan Marauders. That would be Kniesteadt, Power, and Kufis. We're going to have them on the show a little bit later. Maybe we can ask them a little bit about Sarah Cassidy. Virginia Cutters, that's where I have Baldwin going kind of at the backside of that second round. Caleb Franklin, Trey, I also have going in the second round to the Ohio Aviators. And the New England Woodchucks, you got Trzynski, Humans, and Hogue as captains. Tyler Cobb, obviously a connection there with Humans, pro partners last season. We talk about relationships. They're a pretty good relationship there. Plus, he's the talent that kind of fits that style of all 3 captains. Finishing up my second round there, Mish.
All right. Very interesting. We will have to find out in just a couple weeks here. But let's go ahead and transition into our news around the league. The many times asked, couldn't have any patience for this to come out. The schedule is finally here. I know that it has been the topic of conversation for many people, but we're very excited to see all the places we'll be going this season. Trey, what do you want to add in there about the schedule?
Yeah, I think it's just worth noting kind of where the main nationals are going to be. We'll be in Corpus Christi, Texas, April 7th through the 9th for the ACL kickoff battle. The Cornhole Mania is going to be in Erie, Pennsylvania, going back to our home in Erie that we always love, May 19th through the 21st. Portland, Oregon is going to get a national, the 2023 ACL Bag Brawl, going to be in Portland, Oregon, June 9th through the 11th. The final chase, the Cedar Point Sports Center, so that great amusement park in Cedar Point is going to be right there, kind of on campus there, having our ACL final chase, and of course wrapping things up at the World Championships, July 27th through August 6th. They're going to be a big one there. Shootouts kind of going all over the place: Myrtle Beach, Topeka, Kansas, Rapid City, South Dakota, Miami, Florida, Fort Worth, Mesa, Arizona, Minneapolis, Wisconsin, Ohio, kind of all wrapping up again at the World Championships. So didn't want to spend too much time, but you can always go to the website right on the main page, iplaycornhole.com. It's got the full schedule. But yeah, it's going to be another exciting year. So schedule's finally out there for all the nationals.
Very cool. All right, let's bring our guests on. We are going to bring on Joe Kniesteadt and Jordan Power of the Michigan Marauders to talk more about draft strategy. So, welcome, guys, to the show.
What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Nice. What's up, Joe?
Jordan?
Yeah. You guys, have you guys been heavy in the draft planning mode? You guys got your kits together yet? You got your notes? You got your binders? I'm excited to see these binders you guys are preparing.
After Excel spreadsheet. A lot of research being done. You know it.
That doesn't surprise me at all for you, Joe. That is what I would expect.
Yeah, well, I'll take first question as Jordan's gonna try to find his way back in here. I'll ask you, Joe. So, kind of taking control here with the team. I think the first question that everybody likes to ask a captain is, it being the Michigan Marauders, right? It's got a regional feel now. Is there a desire, a want, a need to add Michigan players or Michigan region players to your roster to make this have a hometown feel?
There is, but at the same time, I think we're going to go with a little bit of a different approach to it. We're just going to go, try and get the best player available. And that's kind of what we discussed the past couple of weeks. Been doing a lot of research. It's a more difficult approach, but I think in the long term, it might pay off because, we can always kind of come back to our region, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of teams that are really reaching out and grabbing the talent out there first.
All right, let me ask you this then. So best available is your kind of strategy, but when you look at that lineup, right, you're going to go, okay, I'm looking at 6 or 7 dudes that finished the season ranked 24 to 31.
Mm-hmm.
They could be pretty similar. I mean, you're talking about one loss probably in the season that separates them in finishes. What takes over when you're looking at players that are pretty level talent-wise? I guess first question, does bag sponsorship, does a shared bag sponsorship come into play at all if you have level talent that you're looking at?
There's a lot of things. I mean, Trey gave us that spreadsheet. We got bags, we have everything. The company, we have like the different style they have. One major thing I look at is like weapons. Like, what can you do when a block is out there? It's a round limited format, right? So there's a lot of players that can throw bags in the hole, but all right, do you have the cut? Do you have the roll? Do you have an airmail? Like, what are your other throws? Like, how fluid is your throw? Like, everything really goes into account. But
okay, so you're saying, I guess you're saying, I'm taking away that that's not necessarily like a huge variable for you. You're looking past that into IQ, into strategy, into play.
Everything's a variable, though. Everything gets taken into account. I mean, I'm looking at everything.
That's what I was doing as well, because when your guys' pick comes up, there's a very strong possibility that both Gustafson and Bernasette are going to be available. I think there's a connection there. I'll be also right through the Titan brand, with Jordan. I don't know, like friendships, bag sponsorships. So I'm just trying to understand, is that really at the forefront, or is that like just a secondary thing, like pure talent, and then we'll start considering that stuff?
I mean, like I said, like everything adds up, but like in doubles, like you said, like chemistry does play a huge difference. But like then there's also like you guys were talking about earlier, there's certain people that don't mesh. There's alphas. If you throw an alpha with an alpha, they might not mesh together. You kind of gotta balance. I take everything into account. Everything.
Right, I'm going to throw you one curveball real quick. Yeah. Sorry, Trey.
Yeah.
You have the fourth pick in the draft. Kyle Malone is available. You said you would take best available. I think he's the best available. Do you take him?
I'm not going to go over that kind of strategy. No.
No?
I knew.
No, but I do have.
Trying to get too much out of him, Anthony.
I do have there's plan A, there's plan B, there's plan C, and plan D. Like I'm very digital logic type. Like if then, I want to have a plan for everything. I have the fourth pick, and it could go 4 different ways. Like I honestly don't know who I'm gonna pick. But
all right, he's not in your region. He doesn't share a bag with you. Do you even consider him?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. You consider him. All right. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So you're telling me, so at this current stage, do you guys know who in order your first round pick is going to be, no matter what? Has that decision been made? As in, you have plan A. You said you had plan A. So if you have plan A and plan A is available, if not, then plan B. If not, plan C. If not, plan D. You've made that decision. That decision's done.
Yeah, there's 4. Yeah, it's A, B, C, and D. Well, we have the 4th pick, so yeah. I mean, then in second round, I mean, it could go anywhere. Like I just want to be flexible. And I like Trey was saying earlier, I don't want to reach. That's the biggest thing. You look at a lot of these top names. You look at the statistics and like how they're performing this year. Like really isn't like how like their rankings look. Like you look at. I just looked it up like a few minutes ago. The rank, I think he's ranked like 250 in like PPR and 4-bag percentage. That guy also beat like Jamie Graham, Trey Birchfield, and Matt Guy in one tournament. Like there's guys that like could go in the second, third round, but they could also like drift all the way back to the 9th round. You don't know what people are going to look at. You don't know if they're going to look at, like you said, regional bias or like bags. So like there's guys that have that ceiling to beat anybody that could go super deep. So
it's true.
Jordan on your end, Joe's obviously very analytical here, right? Which I love. And he's got this all laid out, but as the draft goes on, it's less and less logic, right? Because it's more of who's available, kind of gut feel, quick decision time, right? So, Jordan, when you look for someone and you have to go by your gut, does experience playing with them, against them speak to it? Are you looking? Are you going to hone more in on experience of who you have experience playing with and against, or are you trying to be as neutral as possible and look more at numbers?
Fire, man. I don't care about numbers. I don't care about any of that. When you get to that board and you're down 7-0 in a round 6 of 10, what are you going to give me? Are you going to fold? Are you going to throw more bags off? Or are you going to buckle down, throw a blocker, and bang 3 airmails and get a 4-point round for me? I need someone. There was people on our team last year because kind of in a way I was a co-captain with Eric Anderson on the Gushers that play second. And I helped him along the draft and helped him do multiple things throughout the year. So I have an idea how it goes. I just want people to get to the boards like 9:30, man. Like get there and show that you want it. I had someone complain last season they didn't play. We threw them in and they showed up like at 10 o'clock, right when you're supposed to start playing. Like that just can't happen. We're all professionals. Get there, practice, be ready to go. Experience though on the big stage does become a factor because now with this TV thing, you don't know about the playoffs being on TV. Like the playoffs, if they're on TV, You need someone when they get up there, those lights aren't going to be bright. I want someone that's comfortable up there that doesn't care about what the crowd says. Just get the bag in the hole. Let's win the game and let's move on with the tournament.
Last question. I know Michelle's got one. Michelle's got some too. Last question for me, for Jordan. So if this was a play to 21 format, would you draft any differently?
Yes, because there's certain that start off slow in games, and you know that as a competitor or as an analyst. There are players that will start down 8-9-0, but can get back. You can't start down 8-9-0 in this. You got to go off rip and try to get up, or just try to wash and be, like Joe said, be able to execute that big shot when you need it, that roll bag, the cut bag, a big time airmail.
Yeah, I was thinking, kind of piggybacking off what you were saying, like it sounds like what you're looking for are certain kind of personality types, right? That when the pressure gets really, really bad, they respond a certain way. So how are you able to determine like who has these personalities, especially if it's someone you have not played against? Like you're just kind of going off hearsay, or how do you know?
I watch a lot of cornhole. I probably watch about 4 to 5 hours daily of. I'll pop up random. I'll look up a random person I see on the pro standings and be like, all right, let's look at his Facebook. Let's see what videos he has out there.
Nice.
And, you go to all these opens and you see the people, you play against them all the time. So you know the person that's going to fold, and you know the person that's going to stay true to who they are and be able to execute and get the job done.
Yeah, the ability to block. I mean, to block out everything happening, I think would be a big part of that when it starts, especially when you're down and around limit.
100%.
Yeah, I message Jordan about like once a week, and I'm like, "Oh, what do you think of this guy? Like, what do you see here?" Like, I'm definitely like, he's just a huge resource. Like, he knows a lot about the game.
You may not always have the same experience, so I might play somebody tough, but then Joe may say, "Well, I've played this guy like 3 times, and man, I just don't think he's got what it takes, to do it."
Yeah,
and that's at the point where then we talk about, okay, well, let's look at other possible options. Like in the second, third round, you got to start looking, okay, maybe Joe played this guy well, but maybe when he played me, he didn't. So then we got to start looking at numbers. We got to start doing all that to figure out, hey, what's the story when he plays others, not just us?
Right.
That's going to be huge, man. We talk so much about these first 2 rounds in the draft. We know that this whole thing is going to be won in the middle to late rounds. It's a best out of 7 format. So I think that research, that homework you're doing is going to come into play when you get into round, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's going to add significant value to your picks.
How often has Jeremy Schermerhorn been in both of your inboxes trying to get drafted? I know he wants this team so bad.
Every car ride to every tournament, we're always talking.
There's always trades,
like,
though, right, guys? Like that's got to help, I think, a little bit, right? Knowing there's always a trade possibility.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, Anthony, you had Jeremy Schermerhorn going to the burn 2 picks before them in the second round. If that happens, he may go over to Doug Zaft and say, "No, I refuse. I refuse to be drafted by you guys."
That is awesome.
So, okay, last question from me, at least, and if they have any others. You talked about research, right? And in my gut, right, you guys are elite level players. So you're used to playing at the end of tournaments. So you're very familiar with a lot of these top players. How much of your research has been geared towards the top 25% of players in the game versus, say, for lack of a better term, your bottom 50 or your bottom 25%? How much of your time is spent kind of evaluating both sectors of the available draft?
I would say for me, a lot of it's towards the bottom. Yeah, you have all these top names in the first, 2, 3, 4 rounds. Like a lot of, you could kind of predict who's going to go in the first few rounds, but like you get to that middle and it's like it could go anywhere. So I feel like having that knowledge like right in the middle, not necessarily towards the end, I think that's going to help us out like a lot. So that's kind of where I've been focused.
The top is the top. I mean, sure, okay. If you had the number 1 pick and you're choosing between like Jay and Ryan Wiedenfeld and Fisher Hamilton, between those 3, there's little talent gaps, but not huge. Not anything you're gonna go, oh man, if Fisher went in front of Ryan Wiedenfeld, that'd be a shock. Like no, like any of those guys can go 1, 2, 3. Me being biased, of course, that's my partner. I would draft him 1. Why wouldn't you? And doubles world champion.
Yep. Yeah, and then that's where knowing a player's style, knowing, can they handle the big stage like you were saying, knowing those other little factors come into play at that point when you have level loaded talent in front of you to choose from. So that research is going to be huge for you guys.
All right, my last question for you guys. This already feels very different than last season. Do you think all the teams are taking this much more serious going into this draft than last season?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, going into last season, like I heard, there's a lot of players complaining, what are we playing for? What's going on? Like they didn't know really like what it was for. So a lot of them didn't really take it seriously. So I'm having everything kind of laid out beforehand. I feel like is really going to change the game.
And that's another thing. I took note of everyone last year walking around the venue saying, well, I don't know what we're playing for, so I'm not really going to try. Trust me, none of those guys are going to end up on the Michigan Marauders.
Yeah.
Passion.
Big thing is PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yep.
Positive mental
Love
attitude.
You got it.
PMA, I love it. Look at that.
I know, I like it. I think that's super important to look at, though. I think that's a great point because it's what people are doing when they think no one's watching. That's what you really want to pick up on. And that's a great way to gauge that is how people responded to last season's teams and what kind of attitude they had towards it. So I love that. All right, guys, we are unfortunately out of time, but it's been awesome to talk to you and get to know more about your strategy. We look forward to watching what you do in the draft and watching your team this season. So thanks for joining us.
Heck yeah. Thanks for having us, guys.
Appreciate you guys coming on.
Thanks, guys.
All right, it's time for buy or sell. You guys ready?
Let's
Ready.
go.
All right. First one being Brett Guy and Eric Davis should be the favorites again for this season's ACL Pro Shootout. Buy or sell?
Yeah.
Jeff McCarriger is going to have my head when I answer this, but I'm going to sell it. I'm going to
selling it. You're selling it.
He texted me. He was so mad that they weren't in my top 10 of my power rankings. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "They don't win in non-round limited formats." He said, They're back-to-back champions. I don't care if they're playing 2-round formats, right? He doesn't care. He was so mad at me. I'm gonna sell it. I just can't get over it. I don't know what it is. It's got this mental block in my head that I can't make them the favorite. I'm gonna sell.
Anthony?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I know exactly what's going on in your head trying to talk yourself into it. But I got to give them credit. This is where credit comes in. Back-to-back shootout champs. Only 2 teams have done it. The other one, Graham Guy, went back-to-back. They got it done in singles, too. Brett was a singles winner in 2021. Davis was a shootout winner in 2022. I mean, these guys have put almost $160K in their pocket in 2 years in shootouts. I got to give them that. I'm going to buy it, Mish.
They're motivated.
They've earned it. They've earned
it. Good. I like it. All right. It is a shock if Cheyenne Bubenheim doesn't win Pro Shootout #1 and the Shootout Championship. It's a shock. What do you think? Buy or sell?
Buy. It's a buy. She's won it twice. Yeah, it's a shock.
No hesitation. Buy.
No hesitation. Buy. I would be shocked if she didn't win both. If in the Shootout Championship she had like something crazy happens, like she has like her breaks her arm, maybe, but like I don't know.
So short of breaking her arm.
Yeah, I'll buy it.
Breaking her arm.
Anthony, what do you think?
All right, we talked credit before. Let me talk credit again. Back-to-back reigning champ, right? The most dominant female bagger in the sport that we've seen to date. But this is where the shock thing comes into play. I mean, the female talent is increasing exponentially. Cheyenne is taking losses today that she wasn't taking last year. We saw what Rosie did last week, where she raised the ceiling of the game completely with some of the numbers she was putting up. I'm going to sell that it's a shock. She's certainly the favorite. She's definitely the favorite, but it wouldn't be a shock if another lady came in and took that down. I mean, let's not forget, too, a Samantha Finley, who was second 2 years in a row, and now she is throwing out of her mind right now. Not a shock if she loses, but definitely the favorite. So I'm going to sell it.
All right. It's going to take a few events before we see a rookie win a Pro Shootout. Buy or sell? What do we think? Oh, is Trey frozen?
He's frozen. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit.
Okay.
So are we going to, is it going to take a few events to get a rookie? So there's 3 shots, right? We've got doubles, we've got women's singles, we've got men's singles. So 3 chances for a rookie to come out early and win it. On the female side, I don't see a female rookie coming in and winning a shootout in the first half. Possibly in the second half, someone like a Downer or a Huge back, but I don't see it coming out of the female specific pool. I think the rookie strength lies with the men just coming in this season. They're looking really strong. I mean, look at the top 10 power rankings we dropped. We had some rookies in that. This one's tough. I'm gonna buy, and let me explain why. I think the format is going to be somewhat new to the rookies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strategy is going to come into play, into their particular games, making decisions. I think the elite level pros have that advantage coming off of the last 2 years of playing round limited formats in teams, in shootouts. I think they've learned something there that the rookies haven't yet. So I'm going to buy. It's going to take a little bit of time. And
I agree, because we saw that happen with Mark Richards. What do you think, Trey?
Yeah, I'm back now. I'll buy it too. I think it's going to be a little bit learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Or there's not that much of a learning curve, and they overanalyze the learning curve, right? They're they think too much about it, right?
Yeah.
And understanding it. So,
because it was shocking when you see like a Matt Guy or a Mark Richards, not getting it done, and then you start to think, wow, like what's going on there? I can see how that could get in a rookie's head. All right, for men's singles, Alex Rawls and Jamie Graham are the safest bets to win a shootout. Buy or sell, Trey?
Buy 100%. Right? They just know how to do it, and in the times they've won too, it's just like they just like put their foot down. Like, this is mine. Like, I don't know. I just think they got this round limit format figured out. They're playing really, really well. I think they're just a shoe-in right now.
Okay, Anthony, what do you think?
I agree. Jamie Graham has won. Check this out. Back-to-back years, doubles and singles. The only player to do it. So he's won a shootout at every event he's played. Alex Rawls was a rookie last. What's that?
That's a good track record.
Yeah, I mean, you can't deny that one. Alex Rawls, now he was a rookie last season, right? So he only has the 1 year of play, 1 doubles and singles in the round limited format. And the thing about Alex Rawls is he has the perfect style of game for round limited formats, in my opinion. His IQ, his patience to make the right shot selection at the right time. He plays a controlled speed to the whole game. He's always going to be right around the hole, and he has the ability to sneak out those 1 or 2 points, which we know is key in round limited formats, with a strategic push. One of the better pushers in the league. He's added a roll bag to his game. Player A might go on for 1. Player B, Alex Rawls, who has a roll bag in his back pocket, could attempt a roll and squeeze a couple points out. I buy. I think that's well said. Definitely the best two.
All right, last one. Quick answers. Matt Guy and Mark Richards break the curse and win a singles pro shootout this season. Buy or sell, Trey?
Sell.
Sell. Anthony.
I'll say they won't both win.
Mish,
is Matt Guy airmailing over a level 1 block this season?
I think so. I don't think
I sell.
I'm gonna err on the side of yes. Great question though. All right, let's talk about our pro shootout. This is gonna be on December 29th in Myrtle Beach. We're gonna play all the way down to the finals, and then the finals are gonna be played at the Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona in February. Trey, what are we looking out for here on shootout number 1?
Couple things. Excited to see some rookies playing a shootout. We got Ryan Wiedenfeld, we got Fisher Hamilton. How do they handle the round limited format? Excited to see some, one player in particular. We get to see Bella Suprenant in her first shootout. She becomes age eligible to compete in the shootout this year, which is really cool. So we'll get to see her compete for the first time. I think some would argue she would have won one last year, right? Does she win one this season? Then from the double side, a chance to see some different pairings, right? Some things in particular. We've been praying and asking Noah Almanza and Duncan Klemmer to play together. Okay, we're finally going to get to see that in their first pro shootout. So that's exciting to see how they're going to pair up together and how they're going to play. And I tweeted this out. I found this very, very interesting. When it came to doubles registrations, you have Cheyenne Bubenheim, James Baldwin, Jordan Kamba, and Frank Modlin all registered for the shootout. If they were playing with their pro partners, it would easily be, and being the first event of the year, I can see switching it up later, right? Anthony later tells me, look, my partner can't make it. It's a last-ditch effort. I'm trying to squeeze in. But for the first one, number one, on New Year's weekend, when all these pros are going to be there, you have Cheyenne Bubenheim going to be playing with Frank Modlin and James Baldwin playing with Jordan Kamba. Obviously, Kamba and Baldwin have the history, the world championship. But that tells me, Anthony, and I don't know about you, that tells me this is, well, what happens if, right? What if these two teams are really successful, right? And if they are really successful, my gut tells me this is setting the stage for a possible partner flip. Given that James Baldwin did not succeed as much last year alongside Cheyenne, but he needs someone more in the attitude of Jordan Kamba. And if all cornhole is saying, let's mix these around and see how it plays out, I don't know. I love that partner switch on both ends if we could get it to make it happen. Interested to hear what you say.
Dude, you just blew my mind right there. That just blew my mind up. It makes complete sense, but I never even would have reached for that. That's out there, but makes sense. Man, that blows my mind. Yeah, real quick, Misha, I see we're running out of time. I've got a minute. So I literally could talk 30 minutes about this open registration. Men's singles. Let me just pick a few. I definitely have my eye on the 8-0 qualifiers coming out of the pro qualification. Felix Vargas, Josh Glover, Blake Karnick, and Gabe Dolan. I definitely want to get some peeks on these guys. What are we getting out of 8-0 qualifiers coming into the league this year? Interesting to see what Clemmer looks like without a Pro X in his hand. I'm definitely going to be looking for him to watch some matches. Jacob Beamer, I talked about him a little bit earlier. Has he really fallen off? Like the rumors have said, I'm going to be looking out to see what he can do. My eyes on Travis Purser. What does the 2023 Bernasette looks like? I think there's a chance we might see an improved Bernasette. Kamba, what does he look like coming back? I definitely want to get some peeks in on Kamba. Moving on to singles. I don't see Emily Downer or Lexi Hugeback registered for the shootout. I'm really sad about that one. Would love to see them in the field. I think that they could make a lot of noise and runs in the women's division, so this was the first chance to get a look at them. All three women coming up, Streaker, Coy, Finley. Definitely want to see what we got from them. I think Coy's changed her game. Streaker, we talked about her pushing the envelope. Samantha Finley, an improved player. In doubles, I want to see what Poitras and Hunter look like together. I've got my eye on Caleb Avery partnering up with Berkeley Pear. I have not got to see him play live. I know he's an OG. I want to get a peek on that. Timmy Jonas is improved. Eric Anderson is improved. What do they look like today as a partnership? Matthew Stout and Storm Hogue. That one's a unique one. We saw what Stout could do a year and a half ago. He was pretty legit and elite. What does he look like now with a Hogue coming back? And then David Ryan. We know Alec Ryan is a top 10 talent. Can his dad hang in doubles? He's proved a little bit in the Open Series, but I want to see those two together live at the shootout.
Love it. All right. Hot takes. You got yours, Trey?
I just alluded to it. I think Cheyenne Bubenheim and Frank Modlin do so well at this shootout. We see a partner flop for the Pro Series coming up in 2023.
That is the best hot take ever. That would blow my mind if it comes true. Oh my gosh.
Anthony,
write that one down, Mish. I'm going to go with Alex Rawls and Trey Birchfield win shootout doubles. My hot take.
All right, I'm going to say Mark Richards wins this first shootout in singles. Come on, Mark.
Okay.
Ends the streak.
Done.
First one comes out strong. All right, that's all we got time for. We will see you guys all next time. Thanks for joining us.